emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
And the crew, good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is March 12th, and you are watching Peaks2Plains Weather Mornings with Meister. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Meister. Hope you had a good day yesterday. I had a great day. I was down at the Integrated Warning Team meeting in Pueblo. Lots of emergency managers across the area, some sheriff office folks, fire folks, the weather service there, a couple media folks as well. And it was a really, really good day to get together. Did some work on heat, how the heat impacts communities, how the communities can be served during extended stretches of heat, some smoke as well. We kind of worked through some tabletop exercises, and it was really, really fun out there and had a good day. I also enjoyed the weather yesterday. Did you? It was 42 in Colorado Springs, 46 in Pueblo. We had 50s across the Eastern Plains. It was a nice change. Notice some of the mountain valleys were warmer than what we had across the Front Range. Alamosa was 58, and on the western slope in the southwest corner, there were some 60s. I thought that was really, really nice. A lot of sunshine yesterday over the mountain areas. We had some clouds that held from Pueblo, Walsenburg, Trinidad, out across the plains until the afternoon when the sun finally came out. Had a couple flurries yesterday morning up across the Palmer Divide. Got a report of a couple of those around the Falcon area, also around Ellicott. We had some of those, but then we got sun into the afternoon. It's a little bit breezy over the southeastern plains this morning. Couple mountain areas starting to get some gusts as well. There are some over Monarch Pass this morning, and there are some to the west of Denver, where that wind over the next 6 hours is going to get quite strong, and that is one of my bigger stories here today. We are starting to warm up compared to this time yesterday up across Denver, the foothills west of Denver. Behind the cold front on the river this morning, we are quite a bit chillier than yesterday. We're sitting at 23 in Ordway. Eads were down to 19 this morning. Up against the Front Range, though, we were colder in the middle of the night than we are right now. You can see at Walsenburg, it is 45 this morning, and the wind isn't too bad there yet. Usually when I see the temperature going up like that there, the wind is a little bit stronger than some other areas, but the camera's starting to bounce around a little bit perhaps, and Canyon City up against the hills sitting at 37, warmer than what we have in Pueblo this morning, where we are in the 20s. And you get into Colorado Springs, kind of depends where you are. Here's a look from Highway 115 into town there, and you can see the light of day coming up on the eastern horizon. It's actually a little bit warmer in Woodland Park than it is in some spots of Colorado here early this morning. So it just depends where you are, and that is typical Colorado fashion. I want to say hi to a few of you here this morning. Jeremy says, those clouds felt pretty cold yesterday until they burnt off. I agree with that. Teresa saying good morning from Pueblo this morning. Marty saying good morning. West of the Spanish Peaks, it is calm so far, so that's good news. That won't be the case through the course of the day today. And Lori is saying good morning as well. I want to bring in a special guest now this morning. Of course, I am all about my partners here at Peaks2Plains Weather, and one of them is actually a partner with a couple different businesses. So I want to welcome Philip Nelson this morning. Philip, how are you?
Good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. It is my pleasure. You own a couple of different businesses here across the Front Range, and why don't you tell me about them?
Sure. Yeah. So I've got two businesses going on here, Matt. I'm in the pet care industry.
Yep.
I opened Furryland Mobile Pet Grooming in 2022 here in the Springs. I acquired the Denver market last year. So between the two locations, I serve everywhere from Pueblo all the way up to Fort Collins with Furryland. So we do a custom personal pet grooming service. Our customers like us because we come straight to their home. In some cases, we go to their business, and we're able to do grooming there at the comfort at the comfort of the family.
And
My
so tell
second
me
business.
why, for some dogs in particular, like not just comfort for the family, but probably for the animal too, not having to, maybe go through the stress of having other dogs around while they're getting groomed.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly it. When you think about it, you load them into a car, you take them someplace strange, you drop them off. There are usually other animals, strange noises. It can be a stressful situation for most dogs. So being able to just walk out their front door and into the van, it helps reduce that immensely. Um, and there's really nothing more gratifying than watching that dog transform from, the first time they may be a little nervous, second time they improve, third or fourth time they're so comfortable, and when they are happy to see us, it's we love it.
That's awesome. I see lots of 5-star reviews there on the website of the business. Tell me about the other business you have, because I mean, once they're looking good, you're ready to kind of help them look good around the neighborhood.
Yeah, and my dog is the perfect example of that. He's a little Chihuahua Dachshund mix, and he's always a little. He's not quite sure that the bath is a good idea, but I tell you, when they put that tie on him, his chest puffs out, and he struts,
Yeah,
uh, and he loves walking around the neighborhood and showing off how good he looks. And sometimes, with two businesses, I don't always have the time to be able to do that. Uh, and Fetch Pet Care steps in that scenario. So we provide dog walking, pet sitting, in-home care. It's like Furryland. It's customized and personal. Um, but yeah, for busy families heading out of town, they have work commitments. We like to help. Uh, and it's the same concept as Furryland, where we can do it at the comfort of your home, which just makes everybody happier
right.
and a lot less stressed.
Well, I think that's awesome. Congrats on being a small business owner. And how can people, like, what are the websites that people can learn more about Furryland and Fetch?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple, furryland.us and fetchpetcare.com. We're on all of your major social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Uh, we're out and about. We like to participate in local events. National Mill Dog Rescue is a favorite of ours. Humane
Sure,
Society is.
absolutely.
Um, so, yeah, if you can't find us online, do a Google search.
Right.
You'll find us.
Yep. Well, I think that like you said, having that personal touch for the animal separates you, makes you a different, and I think it's great. So thanks for coming on this morning, telling us about it. Congrats again on being a small business owner and serving those four-legged friends that we all love so much. I know some of them are, a little more bougie, I guess, than some other ones, and you fit that need and you help us when we're maybe away from our animals and we know that they're loved. So Philip, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, have a good day, my friend. It's good to see you. Let's
Same.
jump into the weather forecast here now as we head through the day today. Probably better to walk the dog here this morning than what it'll be a little bit later on today, because we've got some wind that is going to fire up across the area here. And you can see some rain and some snow up to our north. We're not going to get that, but this jet streak here is really, really strong up to the north. And kind of on the leading edge of this nose here, we're in an area where that jet stream wind wants to come down to the surface. It'll be stronger up across the northern part of the state than it'll be here in southern Colorado. But through the morning, see these real dark oranges here? There's some wind gusts up to the west of Denver from like Fairplay, maybe up along the eastern slopes of the 10-mile range, Breckenridge, certainly in the Front Range west of Denver, up around Boulder, Nederland, Highway 93. Some of these gusts may be between 80 and 100 miles per hour. So we're not going to see that in southern Colorado, but there will be some gusty wind through the course of the morning east of the mountains, I think along the Gap areas, Highway 160, coming out of Bighorn Canyon on the river will be gustier than other spots. But you see some of the gusts here from this computer model getting up to around 50 miles per hour west of the interstate here as we head through the afternoon. And we'll see areas that aren't as windy here as well. South side of the Springs might not be as windy as up across the north end. We'll keep an eye on that, but breezy enough across the plains that once the wind gets going, I think it's going to take away from the feel a little bit today. So because some of us are going to have some real strong gusts, that dog is cooked there. He doesn't like the wind. Banjo's going with a 5 on his barometer. High fire danger day, of course. Temperatures warming back up into the 60s and 70s. 60s for the mountain valleys again. Humidity level below 15% for a lot of areas in the afternoon. So red flag warnings go up, last into the evening here for everybody east of the mountains. Also for Fremont County, for the San Luis Valley today. And then if you're traveling up to Denver, just keep in mind here, if you're traveling I-70, maybe you're going to head up through Park County and then come on 285 into Denver. High wind warning goes through the morning on Friday. They'll keep getting some strong gusty wind with a mountain wave there. We transition into Friday for southern Colorado. We're still talking fire danger here. Fire weather watch is up. It'll probably be upgraded to a red flag warning here later on today for tomorrow. Because as we move through the overnight, the wind pulls back here out across the plains. It stays a little bit gusty right up against the hills. Stays pretty dang windy off to the west of Denver. Gap flow areas are still getting some occasional gusts, something to be aware of here. We head through the day on Friday, still strong gusty wind through the morning to the west of Denver. And it's going to be a windy day for the gap flow areas more than some of the other spots. I don't think it's as windy out across the plains on Friday as what we'll have today. But the temperatures really aren't changed all that much here between today and tomorrow. It's about the same. We head into Saturday. We're still really warm across the area. We're having 80s out across the plains here. Saturday is going to be a windier day than Friday across the board as we start to watch the approach of a cold front that'll move in early Sunday morning. So as I hit Saturday afternoon here, watch the wind pick up across the plains. We're back getting some gusts between 30 and 50 miles per hour. It's downslope. It's dry. Crew, we are going to have fire weather concerns here for the next few days as we continue to get that really slope coming, or wind, I should say, coming down the slopes of the mountains. And that's just my concern here. So I'm going to take a real short break. I'll be back, answer some of your questions, and then we're going to talk extended forecast, because from wind, warmth, and fire danger to snow for the back part of the weekend, that's coming up.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee.
Here's to 150 years of the state we call home.
At Phil Long Ford Motor City, we've been around for 80 years. That's like 560 in dog years. Basically, we're the top dogs of Colorado. And thanks to our deals, selection, and service, we've earned some pretty loyal customers. And our GM, Mark, he's the most loyal guy I know. Even after I chewed up his shoe, it was delicious.
Great trucks, amazing deals, and belly rubs for dogs. Come see why Colorado drives Phil Long Ford Motor City. Hey guys, where's my shoe?
Another attorney commercial with big promises? Millions of dollars, practicing law 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. Let's get rid of the smoke and mirrors. None of that really matters. What does matter? Having a medical doctor as your attorney. That matters.
Alrighty, crew, I want to take a moment here and talk about Peak Alerts. They are one of the partners here at Peaks2Plains Weather, and it's an opportunity here as we talk about fire danger for the next few days. For those of you in El Paso and Teller County, to sign up at peakalerts.org. Imagine a situation, maybe like the Waldo Canyon fire, maybe like the Black Forest fire, where you're looking around town on a windy day and you see a smoke plume and you don't know necessarily where that is, and it looks like there's a fire that's active. Of course, you'd come to Peaks2Plains Weather and I would be covering that. But you might be in an area that gets an evacuation notice from a wildfire. Certainly a possibility with how dry we've been in the forecast for the next couple of months. It is a summer that I'm a little bit concerned about our fire danger in Colorado. So be ready now. The day that thing is happening is not the time to sign up. peakalerts.org, sign your family up, and I think that would be a good thing to do. I mean, I'll be alerting you of that. You should always have multiple ways to get notifications when something is happening. All right, before I get to the extended forecast crew, I'm going to turn some music on here. I told you that I was going to start a Throwback Thursday segment for the weather. And here's what I learned as I was starting to do that. The information available when you're looking back historically in an easy to find way, weather-wise in Colorado, is a lot more focused on Denver than it is Colorado Springs, Pueblo, the Eastern Plains, San Luis Valley. But I did find some stuff, and it made me realize that I got to come up with a system, like find some websites or, newspapers and things like that. They're just, it's hard to, on a day-by-day basis and year-by-year, go back and find things. But I did find a couple highlights that I want to let you know about. In 1906, on March 12th, there was an extended cold and blustery period over Colorado, particularly the Eastern Plains. And Denver got 14 inches over 11 sort of consecutive days. So it's kind of a long stretch of some, extended windy type cold weather. Colorado Springs in 1906 is the second snowiest March on record, getting 2 feet of snow over that month in 1906. But early March is kind of an interesting time as well, because the greatest amount of snow in 24 hours in Colorado Springs happened on March 11th, so the 10th into the 11th in 1909. So a couple years later, had an early active March period, and March 1909 is actually the snowiest March on record in Colorado Springs, having 30.2 inches of snow. In 1977, on March 11th, there was a blizzard that rolled through the area, and that caught the Palmer Divide up into northeastern Colorado. And then in 1992, on March 9th, so I was kind of going back from today back a week is kind of how I'm going to do it. There is record of a couple blizzards. You can also find in early March some wind events. I mean, we're going to have wind out there today, so that's not a big surprise. And in 2013, we had a pretty good blizzard across the area as well on March 9th. So I've got a little bit of work to do on kind of how, to do that, and want to find some images, but I think it'll be a fun thing to do, go back on Thursdays and do a little bit of Throwback Thursday action. Okay, let's transition now to our forecast here for the end of the week and the weekend. Because as I said, Saturday, a windy, warm, high fire danger day. But then things are going to change while you're sleeping Saturday night as a strong cold front comes in from the north here to wrap up the weekend. And watch what happens to that jet that's up to our north here and then takes a big dive to the southeast as we move through Saturday night. We're going to see some wind as we swap out these air masses, but that jet streak that you see there keeps trending farther and farther south, which means a couple of things. It indicates strength of the system. It indicates a strong temperature gradient, which isn't a surprise, but the precip chances keep trending south as well, because right on the nose, on the left side of the nose of that jet, we get a big area of lift that'll be moving overhead. And so I think this thing is going to be a sharp change for the back part of the weekend in a big way. Some of us looking for almost a 40-degree temperature drop, certainly a 30-degree temperature drop for a lot of areas. And so let's talk about how things change Saturday night. Start to get snow over the mountain areas, and really it's early Sunday morning the front blasts through the southern plains, and that opens the door for snow for the first part of the day. You can see the computer model here is picking up on some rain around Ordway and La Junta. It won't be. It'll be snow. So this will be an all-snow type event. But notice how over the Palmer Divide, the blues are a little bit darker early Sunday morning than elsewhere. and some of the mountain areas southwest of Denver getting some of that as well. You also see some pockets of some darker blues, maybe over the northern Sangre de Cristos and around Monarch. And then as we move past noontime, we start to see that get out of here. So it'll be a quick shot, but it'll be a significant change, a noticeable change. I want to talk about the temperatures after I show you where the snow could accumulate here. So, we're talking obviously the mountain areas, some areas maybe up around 5-6 inches over some of the I-70 ski resorts. But you notice the higher terrain in southern Colorado and the Palmer Divide, we may get a couple inches of snow. It is looking more and more likely that that's going to happen. Now, consider how warm I've got the temperature forecast for today, for tomorrow, for Saturday. I'm not sure how much of that may stick on the roads, but I'll tell you this, initial snow melting on the roads may freeze. And so that may be a concern up over the Palmer Divide or local mountain communities early Sunday morning. And look at the temperatures early Sunday, 50s still. And then by the time you wake up, we're in the 30s. So the high temperatures on Sunday will be while you're sleeping because we won't get that warm again here as we move through the day behind that cold front. So a very, very stark contrast. I was going to say sharp. Sharp, stark, it doesn't matter what you pick here, but it'll be a big change. Then we get into next week, and we're going to go to the other end of the weather spectrum. That's what spring sometimes brings. You see a big ridge of high pressure on Monday over the west coast of the United States. We'll get a day of transition from a temperature perspective. But then as we move into Tuesday and certainly Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, this enormous ridge that has the strength of a late May ridge doesn't go anywhere. And when I say strength of late May, well, what do you mean, Matt? Like, how do you know it's a strength of late May? Well, what I'm showing you here, these black lines, is the height of the 500 millibar pressure surface, which is about at 18,000 feet. But the height of that pressure surface changes. And the higher in the atmosphere that pressure surface is an indication of the warmth of the column of air. And so the height of that 500 millibar pressure surface is more like something we see in late May than in March. Now, with that, the temperatures are sort of reflective of that as well. So again, cold Sunday, transition day Monday, start to be warm Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week, we've got some record warmth on the way. So I think we're at 80 in the Springs by Wednesday, and I think we're well above that for that Thursday, Friday, Saturday time frame, and may start to come down a little bit on Sunday, although it will still be warm. So I think we get 4 days in here at least where we are easily taking the records out. Pueblo, I've got us into the 90s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week. And the mountain areas are going to be warm as well. In fact, if we're talking historical warmth along the Front Range and we're all sitting under that ridge, well, the mountain areas are going to be getting that as well. So that's not great news for the snowpack. We're going to start to melt off the snow in a really big way next week with that record warmth. And so I think we start really going into spring snowmelt. Not to say that behind this we may not have, and we probably will get some more snow at some point here, maybe back part of March, last few days of March looking maybe a little bit more active. But with the historically low snowpack crew, we're just going to start to take that stuff down. We've already started to do that, so that's not good news. We've seen that in the past in the low snowpack years. So just something to know. And so, just something to be aware of. It's my job to bring you the news, even when some of that news is not great. Okay. Jennifer says, I love that Colorado Bank of Colorado commercial. They need to finish the song. I think that is a great spot as well. Bank of Colorado, historical roots in the state. And, I just think that is a fantastic spot. Tom's asking a question here. What's the wind predicted today for the Arkansas Valley? It is spring and it's dry as a bone here. Well, let's go back to that and let's look at that because I can actually show you. I have a couple maps where I can kind of zoom in a little bit more into some closer areas. So let me get that ready for you here, Tom. And I just want to make sure that I've got the timing set right here for these wind gusts. Okay, here it is. And let me change the timing on this so that we can talk about that. Okay. Actually, I've got this set for today and tomorrow, so that's good. Okay. All right, this is for Tom, crew. And let me take his comment out of the way there. And I have this set for today and tomorrow. So you see the gusts here, like this morning, we saw some of the breezes starting to pick up over the southeastern plains. But along the river, it's going to take a while. So it kind of depends where you are. But as we hit the afternoon here, the wind is starting to pick up. Notice not as strong as what we have up against the mountain areas, right? You see La Vida coming down into Walsenburg and Aguilar. We're up around 40 miles per hour. It might be a little bit stronger than that, actually. And then we keep heading through the afternoon. We do get some gusts if you're, maybe starting to get to the west side of Otero County, up around 30 miles per hour or so. And then we head into the evening, and we're still pretty breezy here and get lighter wind into early Friday morning. So, depending where you are, kind of 20 to 35 miles per hour along the river, stronger to the south of there would be my direct answer to your question through the day today. And then on Friday, I don't think it's going to be as windy of a day out across the plains. And you can see that here moving through the day. But you get up against the mountain areas, and we certainly still have some gusts. So hopefully that was helpful for you. And one of the reasons I am doing Peaks to Plains Weather, it is our weather together. Let's see if there's any other questions. Kathy says, good morning. I will keep praying for snow. Yes. And then Jack says, I didn't hear the snow chances for the Springs on Sunday. Well, let's go back to it. We can do that if you missed it. Here you go. I do think we'll have some. So I'll walk through this again and show you that the cold front will be coming in early Sunday morning. Temperatures will be dropping. And so you see as we head through Saturday night, the snow's picking up in the mountains. We start to get snow here across eastern Colorado, including Colorado Springs on Sunday morning. Now, there will be some north wind. So this will be an area, and what the model's trying to show here is the enhancement due to the north wind over the Palmer Divide. So south of Denver, the snow picks up into Castle Rock, into southern Douglas County, Larkspur, out toward Kiowa and Elizabeth. And then the northern parts of El Paso County will get more snow than what we'll have in the heart of Colorado Springs, because that north wind is sinking off of the Palmer Divide down toward the Arkansas River. So in terms of how much, there will be some melting as the ground's starting to get pretty warm. We keep some snow around through the morning. I think if the farther north you are across the metro area, more likely to have maybe an inch or two of snow. I don't think it would be more than that. South end of town, maybe an inch or so, something like that is kind of how it looks as of now. And I'll watch that over the next couple of days. And the farther east you are out over the plains, it may not stick. Might be snowing and then probably not stick. Tom says, thanks for the forecast about the wind. Jack, hopefully you caught that as well. And then David is a friend of mine, a pastor. He says, good morning. And good morning to you, sir. And good morning to all of you. Kathy's going to keep praying for snow, like we said. Mike Parker's like, wow, 80s and 90s next week already. Yeah, that's kind of how it looks. So, crew, that is Mornings with Meister here this morning. I appreciate you joining me. If you haven't downloaded the Peaks to Plains Weather app, you should do that yet. Share it with your friends as well. I hope you are finding it useful. I do want to end today with a Banjo's Buddies and a call to you to share some of your pet pictures with me in the Send to Matt feature on the Peaks to Plains Weather app. Here is how we will end our day. This is Baby Woody from Letitia. Look at that. That is so cute. Little puppers. Love puppers. My friends, have a good day.